The year 2026 began not with fireworks,
but with the loudest noise Alex Rivera had ever heard, the sound of her own mind. At 5:47 am in her studio apartment overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge, Alex woke up to 187 notifications. Emails from her boss, Slack messages from colleagues,
Instagram stories of friends vacationing in Bali, LinkedIn reminders,
and TikTok suggesting how to 10x your income in 2026. Her heart raced before her feet even touched the floor. Every ping felt like a needle in her brain. She scrolled frantically.
I need to reply now, or they'll think I'm not committed. I need to post something today to keep my engagement up. What should I tell MOM about why I'm still single?
Alex Rivera, 34, was a successful product manager at a fast-growing startup in San Francisco. 6-figure salary, beautiful apartment, over 50,000 Instagram followers on paper. She had it all, but every night, when the lights went out,
the real noise began. Her mind was a jungle full of wild monkeys jumping endlessly from branch to branch. What if I don't get promoted this year? Why hasn't he texted back? Should I invest in that new crypto? Am I falling behind everyone else? She told everyone everything. Every coffee meeting turned into an unpaid therapy session. She believed sharing her struggles would make her feel lighter. Instead, the more she spoke, the emptier she felt.
Her energy was leaking out through every word, every story, every long caption begging for validation. In March 2026,
everything exploded during a Zoom meeting.
Alex argued fiercely with a colleague for 12 straight minutes, determined to prove her point. Her voice grew louder and sharper. Finally, her boss interrupted. Alex, we need solutions, not arguments. That night, she drove out of the city with tears streaming down her face. The April rain gently tapped on the windshield. She pulled over on a quiet road beside the ancient redwood forest and cried harder than she had in years, not because of work,
but because she was exhausted from running away from herself. In that moment of complete breakdown, she remembered an old Reddit post about a small Zen temple hidden in the California mountains that offered a 30-day complete silent retreat. No phone,
no talking, no writing,
just you and your own mind.
Alex laughed bitterly through her tears. This is crazy, but her fingers were already searching for the temple's website. She sent an email. The reply from the teacher was short and clear. You are welcome. Once you cross the temple gate, you must observe complete silence for 30 days. Silence is not punishment. It is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Alex typed back one word. Yes. The next morning,
she boarded a plane with only a small backpack, no laptop, no books, no makeup, just simple clothes and the biggest fear of her life, being alone with herself without the ability to speak and hide. When the taxi stopped in front of the wooden gate, nestled deep in the pine forest,
the air was cool and profoundly still.
An older man in his 60s, with silver hair and kind eyes, wearing a simple brown robe, stood waiting. This was Master Min, an American Vietnamese Zen teacher who had trained for many years at Plum Village with thick NHAT Hanch. He didn't speak. He simply placed his palms together, bowed gently, and led her inside before she stepped through the main gate.
He handed her a brown robe identical to his and wrote on a small piece of paper, "Silence is not the absence of speech. Silence is the end of running away from yourself." Alex's heart pounded. She turned off her phone completely, handed it to him,
and crossed the threshold into a world without words. That was the moment her real story began. The first 3 days at the temple were pure hell without her phone. Alex felt as if part of her body had been amputated.
Her right hand kept reaching into empty air, searching for the device that had been an extension of herself for a decade. Her mind was chaotic.
Thoughts crashed over her like ocean waves. People must think I've disappeared. What will happen to my job if I don't reply to emails for 30 days? This was the stupidest decision of my life. Why can't I stop thinking about that guy from the dating app? She was scheduled to sit in meditation 6 times a day in the simple wooden zendo overlooking the pine forest. In the beginning, she could barely sit still for 3 minutes. Her legs went numb, her back ached, and her monkey mind jumped wildly. Master Min sat nearby in silence. Occasionally, he would strike a small bell gently, a soft reminder. Come back to your breath, dear one. Alex tried to practice what she had once read from thick NHAT Hanch. Breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. But the monkey mind refused to be tamed. It judged, it worried, it regretted. It fantasized. On the 4th day,
Alex almost gave up while doing working meditation sweeping the temple courtyard with a bamboo broom. Her mind was busy composing an imaginary Instagram post, taking a digital detox in the mountains.
Feeling so peaceful already, she stopped sweeping. Tears fell onto the stone ground. She took a forbidden piece of paper and quickly wrote, "Teacher, I can't do this anymore. I need to talk." Master Min read the note, smiled kindly, then tore it into tiny pieces in front of her.
He wrote back one powerful line. "Every time you want to speak, ask yourself, does this help me return to myself?" That single question pierced through Alex like an arrow.
She sat down on the cold ground and cried silently. From that moment, she began the practice of observing her thoughts instead of being swept away by them.
She imagined each thought as a monkey jumping from branch to branch.
She didn't chase them. She didn't fight them. She simply watched them come and let them go. Slowly, in the deep silence, a painful truth emerged. Most of what she had spoken in her life was to seek validation from others.
She shared her pain to be comforted.
She showed her achievements to be praised.
She argued to prove she was right.
All of it came from fear of abandonment, fear of not being good enough, fear of being invisible. Silence began to strip away those layers.
For the first time in years, Alex sat alone beside the small lotus pond and truly saw a lotus flower blooming.
It didn't need to shout, didn't need likes, didn't need to explain itself. It simply bloomed when the time was right. She whispered inside her heart since she couldn't speak aloud. Can I become like that too?
By the second week, real transformation began to show. Alex was assigned simple daily tasks, tending the vegetable garden and sweeping the courtyard every morning.
The repetitive, purposeless work helped calm her restless mind.
There were no KPIs, no deadlines, and no one to impress. She started noticing sounds she had never heard before. The wind through the pine trees, distant birdsong, falling leaves, and most importantly, the steady rhythm of her own heartbeat. One afternoon, Master Min led her to an ancient forest nearby. They sat silently beneath a massive old tree that had been struck by lightning, but still grew vibrantly green. The teacher pointed to the large scar on the trunk, then to the sky, and smiled gently. Alex understood the message. The tree did not complain about its wounds.
It simply continued to live and heal from within.
Impermanence is the law of life. Everything changes, but life goes on if we stop clinging to pain. She recalled an old Zen story. Long ago, there was a king who worried constantly and spoke endlessly. He sought advice from a Zen master, who invited him to stay at the monastery for 15 days of complete silence. At first, the king suffered terribly because he could not give orders or argue.
But gradually, he began to hear the wind, the birds, and his own heart.
When he returned to the palace, he spoke much less.
The court became peaceful. His people respected him for his actions rather than his eloquent words. Alex began applying this wisdom.
She practiced silent response in her mind. Whenever an angry or anxious thought arose, what if I lose my job when I return? She would take a deep breath, smile softly, and let the thought pass like a cloud across the sky. She also practiced Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching. Breathing in, I calm my body and mind.
Breathing out, I smile.
Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment. Sitting in meditation before the golden Buddha statue in the Zendo, Alex felt a warm, quiet presence.
The Buddha didn't speak, yet it seemed to whisper, "You already have everything you need. Just return home to yourself." She realized, focusing on yourself is not selfishness.
It is the foundation that allows you to have enough energy, peace, and compassion to truly help others without burning out.
In the past, she had given away too much of her energy through words, leaving herself empty. Weeks 3 and 4 brought the greatest challenges. Silence had become comfortable, but old memories and fears about the future began rising like powerful underground waves.
Alex confronted her fear of failure, fear of loneliness, and fear of returning to the world and no longer being important in others' eyes. One night,
unable to sleep on her hard wooden bed, hundreds of thoughts flooded her mind. What will I say to my friends when I return? How do I explain 30 days of silence? Will my job still be waiting for me?
She got up and walked to the lotus pond under the moonlight. She sat there for hours, crying silently.
Her tears fell into the pond, creating small ripples that soon disappeared. The next morning, Master Min took her to a special stone wall where an ancient inscription was carved. The mind is everything.
What you think, you become. He sat beside her in silence for the entire morning.
No advice,
No comfort.
Just pure, calm presence. Alex finally understood. Silence creates the space for wounds to heal naturally. Focusing on yourself means choosing not to let the noise of the outside world control your life. She began practicing self-compassion, a profound Buddhist teaching.
She spoke gently to herself in her mind. You have tried your best. You deserve peace. On the final day of the 30 days, Master Min allowed her to speak again. But Alex only smiled, placed her palms together, and said one short sentence. Thank you, teacher.
I have found myself in the silence. Master Min nodded, his eyes shining. You have brought peace home with you. Remember, focusing on yourself and staying silent is not isolation.
It is how you learn to communicate more deeply, first with yourself, and then with the world. When Alex returned to San Francisco at the end of May 2026, the world was as noisy as ever.
But she was no longer the same person. She still worked, but she spoke less and acted more. In meetings, she listened first before speaking. She no longer argued just to prove she was right.
Her energy stopped leaking uselessly. She still had friends, but she kept only real relationships.
When people asked, "Why are you posting so little these days?" she simply smiled and replied, "I'm learning to spend more time with myself." Her work performance improved because she could focus deeply.
Her relationships became healthier because she no longer brought unnecessary drama or the constant need for validation. Every morning,
she meditated for 20 minutes, practicing mindful breathing and observing her thoughts. She hung a small painting in her room, a serene Buddha in meditation with the words, "Return to yourself." Whenever she felt pulled back into the chaos of 2026, exploding AI technology,
increasingly noisy social media, and intense pressure to succeed,
Alex would take a deep breath and remind herself,
peace is not something you chase outside. It is something you return to inside yourself. Alex's story spread quietly and naturally.
She didn't write long dramatic posts or make boastful videos. When friends asked for her secret, she would share briefly and end with these words. In 2026, try focusing on yourself and staying silent for a while. Stay silent long enough to hear your own heart. Focus on yourself deeply enough to become the strongest
and most peaceful version of you. Final message, perfect for video ending.
Silence is not weakness. It is power. Focusing on yourself is not selfishness. It is the foundation for living fully and helping others authentically. No matter how loud 2026 becomes,
there is always a quiet space inside you if you choose to return to it. Which noise are you ready to release today? Which part of yourself are you ready to focus on? Begin with one deep breath and stay silent for a moment.